Welcome to Cash Flow Club. This is a short presentation where I'm going to show you how at Cash Flow Club we use ChatGPT to help our clients build a thriving business. You might be asking why I'm sharing this with you if this is something we do with our clients. Well, the reality is we want you to understand what we do, and if you like what we do, then we'd love to talk about how we might work together. And if we're not a fit, that's fine, but at least we hope you get a little bit of value out of this presentation. So before I jump in, I just want to share that at Cashflow Club, our promise is we help our members build thriving businesses. So you can see at the center of this diagnostic, this tool, we have a thriving business. And the three core areas that we focus on are inbound, outbound, and manage. So by focusing on those three core areas, we help our clients build the elements they need for a thriving business. Under it, inbound, there's three subcategories. One is increase, two is accelerate, three is systemize. Under outbound, we have decrease, decelerate, and optimize. And under manage, we have saving, borrowing, and investing. Basically, the way this is structured, we always focus on inbound first, because if we can get your inbound up and running and optimized and systemized, then we have a shot at helping you with your business. You may want to work on your outbound at the same time by decreasing your cash going out or slowing it down. But the reality is, until inbound and outbound are completely 100% fixed and optimized, we don't waste a lot of time talking about the manage section, because manage is about the long-term sustainability of a business. Inbound and outbound is more about the short-term survive. If we can't survive the short term, we don't care about the long term. So we want to make sure you're surviving and thriving. Then we get into manage. So I'm going to show you a few ChatGPT prompts that we use with our clients. And the caveat is really, really important. We know what we're doing. We know what looks good. We know what doesn't look so good. So we're helping our clients and we're customizing these prompts, which of course helps them customize their outputs. So the things I'm going to share, they're general in nature. We highly encourage you to use your own due diligence in order to make sure you're getting the best results possible. And I should warn you that AI, including ChatGPT, sometimes has what's called hallucinations. And basically, the generated content might not be entirely accurate or applicable. So always test and measure, test and measure. Now, the prompts I'm sharing with you, you can use in the free version of ChatGPT, the 3.5, or you'll get better results if you use the paid version 4.0. And just to give you a little bit of context, version 4 is significantly better, and the monthly cost is about $20 US. So it's not a big deal, but my advice to you is play around with GPT 3.5. Once you're comfortable, then you can decide if you need 4. All right. The last thing I want to say, and then we're going to get right into some practicalities, is always test the outcomes of any new strategy on a small scale before full-fledged implementation. Because one of the worst things you can do is jump right into a new strategy without testing and proving it and without optimizing. So always test a little bit, and then once you're happy, expand your tests to the rest of your business. So always adjust. Secondly, there is always risk associated with business change. Highly, highly encourage you to consult with your current business advisors or other professionals to validate strategies and to mitigate potential downsides. And again, I can't stress enough, do not do any of these things we're sharing on your own. Reach out to your professional advisors that you trust and ask for their help. Full disclosure, they may not be able to help you with all of these things, but at the very least, they can give you some advice based on their experience and their knowledge of your business. All right. The first thing I'm going to teach here is our GPT prompt template. And I'm not going to read this to you, and you're going to see repeats of this because it is a template. But this is our default prompt. If we don't know where to start, this is the prompt that we start with. And the key things here, I just want to share that you're going to give, in the first sentence, you're going to give GPT a little bit of guidance, what your aims are, what you hope to accomplish. And then we have an 8-point system where we share an objective. What is the goal or problem we want to solve? We have some feedback. What kind of feedback do we have as a user? What kind of format style do we want? Do we want it to be formal, informal? You can use that particular prompt optimization to simplify or complicate depending on what you want. Always have an audience and some context. So who is this prompt for? What is the output going to be used for? GPT loves to role play, so always give it a role. And I'll show you examples of these. Give it examples or constraints. What are some things that they should consider, some things we can't do? Give it that scope and detail, as much detail as you can. And then the last one, a lot of people don't do this, but honestly, I think it hurts your results. I share some of the experts, or I ask GPT to share some experts, whether they're influential or thought leaders, that might shape my answer. And in my experience, having that extra context of experts tells GPT where to focus. And then the final thing is the one single instruction based on our prompt. Here's what I want you to do. And I can't stress this enough. Prompting should be an iterative process. You might go back and forth a few times until you're 100% happy. I'm going to show you some examples, and you'll notice in these examples, this is the first round. And I tell you that not to say don't do this, but I'm going to show you what the first round looks like without any iteration. And then I'm going to show you how to customize it for yourself. So based on the 9 categories of cash flow that we talk about, we're going to start with inbound cash flow, and the first category is increase. Now, this prompt is fairly generic, but the things I would focus on for you, and by the way, we'll have a way you can download these so you don't have to type them out. But here it talks about enhancing cash flow for small business owners. That's pretty generic. What I would focus on and update is put the type of business you're in. So if you're an accounting firm or a bookkeeping firm or a dentist or a plumber, put that here instead of the generic small business owners. Now, under these, you can add more specific. Again, instead of for small businesses, I would say for, and lay out what my business is specifically. In this case, we're looking to add revenue streams. There's not a lot. Audience context, customize that to exactly who you are. And by the way, you can then have this as your template. So think about the things you want to customize. The role, we're going to ask it as a strategic advisor. We're going to ask it to provide some examples and some scope and then some experts. And here's the final ask. So as you can see, that's pretty generic, but the more questions you ask, so I would have this as an ongoing conversation. I would get GPT to hone in on my exact business. And what that will do is it should give you a list, and I've tested this on my own and it does work, but it'll give you a list of common ways you can increase revenue. Now, that's a big topic. I'm not going to tackle it today, but the reality is you can either increase revenue by increasing the number or of customers you have. You can increase the average transaction per customer, or you can find some synergy there. And basically, the other piece we're looking at is the difference between new customers acquiring them, which can be time consuming and expensive, or adding more value to existing customers. So this will be a fairly generic example, and I encourage you to play with it. Now, what we looked at the next one, and again, your results will vary, but you can use this. You can ask yourself and GPT the difference between developing a new product or service or finding ways to offer. So, if you have a new product or service, are you looking at primarily offering that to new clients or to existing clients? In my experience, the first lowest risk, lowest cost, easy option is to offer new products or services to existing clients. The other thing is you can find ways to get existing clients to buy more, but that's kind of it says more about, we want you to buy rather than we love you and we want to serve you. So I like to find new products or services for existing customers. And then once I've optimized that, then I start to look for ways to acquire new customers, either for my existing products or services or for new products or services. And by the way, if you look at the analysis, offering a new product or service to a new client group is the highest risk. So you always want to focus on who you know already, who you already serve. Now, just because I don't want you to take my word for it, we created a prompt on how you can evaluate the relative cost and risk of finding new customers or new products or services. Again, I like to find ways to add value to my existing best clients first, then I start to look beyond that. Now, this next example, again, we're talking about inbound cash flow and accelerating it. This is a great little example because it'll give you some practical examples. The assumption here is that you're a typical business where you sell a product or service and then your customers pay at a later date. Tailor it to yours. If you are, for example, a grocery store or a restaurant where people pay, you want to tailor it to your industry so that it can talk about how you can get people to pay faster. For example, gift cards. People prepay and then they use the service or get the product later. Now, systemize, this is really about using technology, using systems and processes to make sure that your inbound cash flow is consistent. And by the way, this is the biggest pain point I see in most small businesses. They don't have a reliable, predictable inflow of cash. So they're always stressing out trying to find more cash. If you can understand what your month to month fixed expenses are and then create systems so that that money all automatically comes in, it reduces significantly the stress that you're going to have in your business. Now, under outbound, we're looking for ways we can cut costs. And I would say, again, tailor this to your business. Under decelerate, we're looking at ways to slow down. And I love this prompt because the first round is actually really good. We want to optimize, optimize, optimize. But the reality is, it can help you find some strategies and it can help you negotiate with your vendors. So it's really cool the results you can get with this. Now, under optimize, this is where we're likely looking at having a business budget in place. We're analyzing our expenses, we're analyzing revenue, and we're looking to justify that every dollar we spend actually contributes to the growth and sustainability of our company. So this can really help you if you're not sure where to look or what you could reduce. You can use this prompt. And by the way, you can actually have another prompt where you can analyze your business results in detail, and it'll tell you exactly where you need to focus. Now, we're not going to go into the manage pieces really, really carefully right now, because until you've got inbound and outbound set, manage is sort of nice to have, but it's really not somewhere you're going to get to. Under saving, you're just looking for strategies. How do we have enough cash on hand so that we can pay the day-to-day bills? Under borrowing, we're looking to see how can we make sure we're borrowing the right money at the right time at the right rates. This will help you in terms of setting your expectations and working with your lenders. And then investing, once everything else is sorted and it's all systemized, then you can look at long-term investing to help you realize your personal goals as well as your business goals. But again, if you're worried about the survival of your business, you're probably not sitting down with a wealth manager to talk about investing surplus cash because you're probably not going to be sleeping at night because you have a lack thereof. All right, now this is my bonus tip for you. And if you're looking to hire a business expert, I don't care what field they're in, what product or service they offer, ask GPT for help for your specific business type and the expert you're looking to hire. And I like to ask things like, what questions should I ask them up front? How do I pick a good one? What what do they mean when they say this? GPT can help you really translate what your experts are telling you so that you both get the best of all worlds. Now, we've talked about 9 different cash flow strategies in 3 main core areas. One of the things I like to do is based on specific facts, ask GPT for help so that I can understand which cash flow strategy I should be working on first. So just generally speaking, I like to focus on accelerating cash from existing customers first. So if you have receivables, managing those. Next, I look at adding new revenue streams. And then I like to look at cutting costs. So those are the 3 things that I usually do first. But this will give you some actual practical things to look at, and it'll help you understand where you need to focus in your business. And the last slide, these are some key questions you should be asking yourself in your business on a regular basis. This is not a prompt. I'm not going to read these, but you want to look at the current financial health of your business. You want to look at operational efficiency, always looking for new revenue streams. How can you diversify that? Um, Look at your customer base. I'm a big fan of the Pareto principle and analyzing your customers. Look at the market dynamics, look at your expense management, what access do you have to capital, where might you want to invest, and what does the competitive landscape look like? And by the way, I would create a ChatGPT prompt for each one of these so that you can keep on top of your business. So this was a little like drinking from a fire hose. I hope you got some value out of it, but the reality is ChatGPT gives small business owners an unprecedented opportunity. We can either be afraid of it and run for the hills screaming, or we can embrace it and say, this is an opportunity for me to compete head to head, toe to toe against significantly larger organizations. If small business is David and big business is Goliath, ChatGPT is a laser guided slingshot. So I can't stress this enough. If you're not using GPT for your small business, you are missing out. So this little presentation was just about how you can use GPT in your business. This will lead into a further series. I highly recommend you check out our Big Thinker universe. But the reality is, these are just some of the high level questions. We're going to be diving deep into some ways and the specifics of how you can take the outputs from these prompts that you're going to get and actually improve your business. So I hope that was helpful for you, and leave your comments and questions below. Thank you.